Hi, everyone, and welcome. It is time for October's spirit reading. And I want everyone to know that I don't use cards. I actually connect with spirit. I ask them to step forward, loving divine beings, and to share what it is that we need to know for this next coming month. So I want people to understand where this information comes from. I receive this through feelings, through visuals, through hearing words, and just a sense of what it is that needs to be conveyed. So this is the reason that I call it a spirit reading. So let's talk about October. If you listened in September, we were asked to really fine tune and hone into those things that we felt we needed to change. And this was about big, deep change. And they talked about you having an angst. Now, I know what's coming up for October is they've shown me, you've seen that thing with a guy on a bucking bronco horse and he's going, woo-ha, woo-ha. And so this is really what October is going to be. But the funny thing is it's got this really light and good feeling about it. Now, what I'm understanding though from this is you're going to be going from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next. So there's a lot of bouncing around. This is the Bronco horse, right? But what Spirit is trying to tell us that we need to remember out of all of this is let's have fun while it's happening. We can't change the fact that all of these different things are going to be popping into our life and creating what we would consider to be, and I'm going to use this word chaos. It's just going to be this and that and this and that and this and that. And so what they're saying is if you look at this chaos that's coming through for October as kind of like, geez, it's this, and then, geez, it's that, and you're bringing this really heavy energy to it. And so they're talking about it. Just take each little grain of salt as it comes along and be the guy on the Bronco, right? Go yeehaw, have fun with it, and move from each one. They're talking about doing it gracefully and moving into that. Now, these things that are going to be happening during October, sadly, they're not going to have anything to do with the personal change that they wanted you to make. And so you're going to feel like, gee, everything is just not going my way. They're also reminding me that last month they talked about the fact that, look, this big change that you want to make, not going to happen overnight. This is going to be about the radical change. It's going to take a period of time. They wanted you to have a sense of peace this month, though, that you know what that change is for yourself so that you're not feeling all riled up inside, still feeling like you're at odds with the world. Because this month, the world is going to be at odds with you. And so you need to have this sense of calmness within yourself that you know where you're going, you will know what needs to be accomplished. And they're telling me, have the faith that you're going to get there. This is not going to be the month for it, unfortunately. And so this month, when it comes to that radical change that you wanted to make for yourself, and I know some of you made comments and got a hold of me and said, oh, I identified what that change is and I know what I want that to be. They're talking about that's great. Continue to keep it in your mind. Continue to work towards that internally, because the external changes that you're going to want to make are just not going to happen this month. All of these different things from these outside sources are going to be distracting you. And so this is their way of lovingly advising you to just roll with the flow and to look at it from this fun perspective. Now, they are talking about some of these are going to be health related challenges. Some of these are going to be challenges with loved ones. Some of these are going to be very physical in nature. They're going to require a lot of movement, a lot of motion, and a lot of action. I know that that's being reflected in my own life this coming month, and they're talking about this is going to just be happening in general. Again, we're moving into a lot of change. We know that from the political climate. There's elections coming up. We're rolling into the end of the year, but there's also this energetic, they're giving me something more than just what's happening on the surface. There's this underlying current that's happening as well. It's creating a lot of fluctuations. And so the quicker that you can learn to roll with these undercurrents, with these flows of changes, the better you will be at embracing them in this graceful way. So those are just a couple of things that they want you to be aware of. The next thing that they're talking about now is, and they gave me this lesson this morning and they're bringing it back up again now, is talking about collective consciousness. And I'm just going to touch very briefly on what collective consciousness is if you don't know. If you do, that's great. But collective consciousness happens in so many different ways, right? Our family has a collective consciousness. Our nation or our culture has a collective consciousness. If we go to a church, there's a collective consciousness. If we go to a sporting event, right? Let's say you're going to a football game or a baseball game and everybody's excited. There is a collective consciousness. There is an energetic feel that is running throughout the stadium. And these collective consciousnesses, that's a word, right? They exist all over the place in lots of different pockets and lots of different ways. We each will resonate with a collective consciousness that is most like our own. So, for example, they're giving me right now this example of if you are feeling frazzled, you are going to connect with all of the other individuals who are in that collective consciousness of being frazzled. And so, what they're doing is they're showing me these currents. I'm getting this visual of all of these currents that are going to be taking place for October, of this and that and this and that happening in your physical life, but also at the energetic level. And they're talking about you needing to have this undercurrent, right? This energy in yourself that is very steady state. Because what happens with all of this is it dips into your energy, right? When there's all of these fluctuations, and when this collective consciousness frazzled energy kind of hits your energy line, it causes you to vibrate, right? They're showing me this oscillation that takes place. The more you can steady state yourself, the more you can relax and roll with the flow. When these frazzled moments hit you, instead of you becoming like this with them, right? Because then you get caught up in that collective consciousness energy. When you are more steady state and you're aware of it, they're talking about awareness is key, knowing when it's happening. Then when you get hit with it, you're going to oscillate, but it's going to be a smaller oscillation, right? It's going to be an easier Bronco ride, and you can go with it as opposed to those individuals who are not aware of it. So again, they're backtracking me to this collective consciousness and saying, we need to understand that collective consciousness is always resonating with us. And I know, for example, one of the lessons they gave me this morning was, if you resonate very strongly with one political party, for example, or a particular cause that's very important to you, you're going to vibrate with that state. And while they say that this is not a bad thing, because we all want to resonate with those things that are important to us, we need to be sure that our current, our energy resonance is strong and as steady state as we can possibly make it. And so now they're bringing in this big change that you want to make. And they're talking about the fact that when you learn to steady state yourself, when you understand this energy vibration, right? And again, they're saying, we'll talk about how to do that here in just a second. When you can steady state yourself, this change that you want to make is going to be much easier for you because you know how to be in flow with things. Instead of saying, I have to do this and I have to do that, and your energy going up and down and up and down to make this change, you're going to be capable of understanding that it's a path. You're going to be working your way towards those things that you want without creating all of this stress on yourself that, oh my gosh, and oh my gosh, and oh my gosh, and the rivers and the valleys. So this month is training, they're telling me, right? This is the month to train how to keep your energy in a constant and steady state. And they're talking about emotional upheaval. That's the words that I'm hearing right now. I hear emotional upheaval. And they're saying this is what causes your energy to become out of vibration, out of sync, out of flow. And when the emotion is high, whether we're in that stadium cheering or whether we're at a political rally and everybody's hating against each other, this is an emotionally charged situation. You have to be capable of managing your emotions and keeping them from becoming very polarized. This is something that no one can do for you. It's just about an awareness that when you feel yourself getting into that high, right? We love the good highs, but the bad highs can be a lot more difficult to ride through. They're saying now to let you know, to talk about, notice both. It's great to have the good highs, but we have to be careful because those good highs can take us into places where, for example, we party too much, we eat too much, we say too much. We maybe go out and do things that are a little more addictive in nature or move us in a direction that perhaps we really still don't want to go. And so it's okay to be joyful and happy. just as it is to be upset about things. But mind the steady state. That is the message for this month. Mind the steady state, because the collective energy state this month is going to be crazy. It's going to be all over the place, and it's going to take you with it if you can't create your own river of calm. So I hope you can take this lesson for this month, apply it, give it some meaning and understanding. Maybe write yourself what they're showing as a little note card or something that you can put in your pocket that reminds you to be in a steady state, to be calm, and to take each experience as it happens to you with a state of joy and ease and grace. And then we'll talk about November when that comes along and what the next step will be for you. So thanks so much. If you like, I'd love to hear the comments. I love when people reach out and tell me, oh, this had meaning for you. So please be sure to share and like and subscribe and let me know how this has an impact for you. So thanks for listening, and I'll catch up with you next month. Bye-bye. I wanted to do this little extra recording after the actual reading because it was about a week later that Spirit validated what information it had given me. I always ask for that validation because it's really important to me that I am giving you the right information, that I'm getting it accurately. You know, this is the way we work in mediumship and psychic work, is we want to be sure that our information is on point and accurate and evidential. And so one of the things that, of course, came up for this particular reading was the Bronco rider, you know, the guy on the horse. And so I want to just share with you how Spirit validated this lesson. So again, I'm recording this. It's about a week later after I did the reading, but within 2 days of doing that reading, here's what happened. So just give me a couple of minutes to set up the story, and you'll see this really cool way that Spirit can validate the lesson. So I'm going downstairs to do some bicycle riding. We have an indoor trainer that's downstairs. We have some software that we use that integrates with the trainer so that if you're going uphill, it gets harder. If you're going downhill, it gets easier. It mimics riding on cobblestones and planks. So it's kind of a sophisticated piece of software. So I go downstairs, I've got my laptop, I'm getting ready to plug everything in. I turn on my computer, and lo and behold, it's doing an update, right? So of course, I've had my computer for a while, the update's taken place. I'm getting really frustrated. I'm getting really aggravated because I was ready to ride. It was the right time. Everything's falling behind. So I'm getting flustered. So 20 minutes later, my computer's done updating. Great, no problem. I load the software, and guess what? The software's not loading. It wants to do an update. So I putz around again with the software, and I finally get the software up and running. So now I'm about 25 minutes into it. I hop on the bike. I'm finally ready to do it. Well, nope, that's not actually the case, because then I get the software up, and guess what? One of the components that's on the trainer isn't working. Change your battery. It's either, or do an update. And of course I ended up having to change the battery. So the whole time I've gotten back off the bike, I'm stomping upstairs from the basement, and I'm really angry. I come back downstairs, I bring the batteries. Well, this unit needs a screwdriver. So I go back upstairs, I go get the screwdriver. By now, of course, I'm furious, right? I mean, I'm just having this complete and total meltdown because it's 30 minutes and I wanted to ride and I had a schedule. So I don't know what it was that I was doing, but I was in the process of all of this. And all of a sudden, my October reading just flashed through my head. I mean, here I am in this angry state. And I thought, what on earth am I thinking about that for? And I went, oh my gosh, this is exactly what they were talking about in the reading for October. Each step was just one thing after another, after another, after another. And I was not taking it well, right? So remember that wobble that they were talking about? I was like totally riding the situation. I was not in a steady state. So I kind of had to laugh, and I went, thank you, Spirit, for reminding me. I got it. This really solidified the lesson for me. Now, I didn't really consider that validation. I kind of thought that was Spirit's way of really reminding me, hey, pay attention. And so I immediately caught myself, and I took a couple of breaths, and I went, no big deal. No big deal, right? I was allowing the situation to take over me. So I continue to get on the bike, right? The story's not done yet. I continue to get on the bike, and I like to listen to music while I'm doing it. There's some background music with the software. It's not very fun. And so I thought, I feel inspired to listen to this today. It was a Dua Lipa song, and I have one of her songs that I really like, and I play it over and over again. And I thought, well, let me try some of her other songs and see if I really like this. So I clicked on one that I felt inspired to watch, And it started off slow. And I thought, when I'm riding my bike, I want something really upbeat, something that I can keep my pace up and I'm moving. And I'm like, nope, just stick with it. Just stick with it. Just something said, just stick with it. And it's going to fire itself up again. So of course it did. It started picking up and I went, oh, I really like this song. It's got a good beat and I can move to it. And as I'm moving through it, I'm watching the video while I'm riding my bike and doing all of this. And I'm just going to put a picture up right up here so that you can kind of take a look and see. The whole video is Dua Lipa riding on this mechanical bull. And I look over, and when I look over, she's doing the bucking bronco on the mechanical bull in this song. And I thought, oh my gosh, there's my validation. And so, it happened to me. I think it's really cool. I love when these things kind of happen. So it was interesting that they gave me this image. Did they know that that I was going to run into this scenario? How do all of these things line up? We could certainly call them coincidence, but for me, I just thought it was so amazing. And when I saw her doing the bucking bronco on this mechanical bull, I realized, thank you, Spirit, for validating me, for reminding me of my own lesson and taking the advice that's being given, because these lessons are for me too, I promise, right? And for showing me that what I shared with everyone for the month of October is valid, at least as far as the information, it came through me from Spirit. So anyway, I just wanted to share that. I thought it was really cool. This is the subtle way that Spirit works and moves and validates us if we pay attention to the little signs and symbols. So I wanted to share that with you and let you know that I thought that was really exciting. So I hope you take the October lesson and remember not to wobble and ask Spirit to give you some validation. Maybe they'll show you a bucking bronco this month to remind you about the wobble. So thanks, guys. I appreciate your extra time today. Bye-bye.